Hi, I'm Jenna.
And I'm Kelley, and this is the Rebuild the Construction Mindset podcast, where we focus on embracing new ideas and methods with enthusiasm and excitement in the construction industry.
Our goal is to bridge the gap between all professions that touch the industry and create a platform for different perspectives. From suppliers to end users, we want all voices to be heard.
All right, welcome to the first podcast of 2024. It's a brand new year.
We took a little break.
Did take a break. It's always good to take breaks for mental health.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what we're all about here. So how was your New Year?
Had a little hospital visit right before the holidays, so luckily we came out before Christmas and her birthday and New Year's, and we were able to enjoy the holidays a little bit more than sitting in a hospital room.
Good.
I got a electric scooter for Christmas.
Sick. Have you ridden it?
Yeah.
Cool.
It gets up to 18 miles per hour.
That's pretty quick.
And then Kinsley got a lot of toys. Lots. So we actually just did some of it yesterday. My mom was able to declutter while we were in the hospital, but I did some more decluttering of her play area yesterday morning to get rid of stuff because we got like the 3-foot tall Barbie house that was like out there. I guess a lot of kids got that. We got it a Dino ATV. So yeah, and then New Year's we went downtown next to the building that shoots off fireworks, and we were able to get up on the roof and be like right next to it for New Year's. Well, 9 p.m. New Year's.
Okay. Yeah.
Not midnight New Year's.
I get you. Like the 30 to 40-year-old New Year's.
That's me. What about you? How was your holidays?
It was good. We spent it here with Tyler's family. We switch off every year, either going to Albuquerque to see my family, or staying here with his. So this year we were with his family, which is super fun. And then Tyler and I actually closed on our house, New Year's Eve 3 years ago today, or not. I guess this year.
Oh, okay. I was confused. I was like, what, did you buy a new house?
No. So every New Year's we celebrate by doing like a project or something. So like we did like a wood wall one year. The first year we moved in, we painted a wall and did like that clock in my dining room. You know,
the one right behind you right now.
The one that's behind me right now that doesn't work, or it didn't work, but I replaced it. And then so this year, we were going to do a project, but we decided that instead we were going to just go buy some furniture. So we went and bought some furniture, and yeah, definitely adulting. We stayed up kind of late putting the furniture together.
It's like, was it IKEA furniture?
It was from American Furniture Warehouse.
Oh yeah.
You know, you still have to. We didn't pay the $50 for them to deliver it, so because we're cheap. So yeah, that's good. It was pretty standard.
I was gonna say we got a couch, but I did pay for them to deliver it, and I didn't realize they like unpack it and put it where you want. And so I came home from the hospital because my mom was here, and it was all just there. I was like, oh, that was beautiful. And they just take it all back. They take all the trash. I was like, I don't know, that like extra little couple dollars. I realized this week or last month that it was totally worth it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cause like the couch, like our couch, we did the same thing. And then our bed set, but this was just like a few like nightstands and, easy stuff that we can do.
Oh yeah. Those are easy.
Yeah.
But, couches are on hell to try to get into the house.
Oh yeah. Well, and so this year, my New Year's resolution, I don't know if you've had any New Year's resolutions or anything that you've thought about.
I'd have to show you my book again.
Okay. So you do have a couple. Well, what's funny is that some of mine, kind of go hand in hand with what we're about to talk about today is, ways that I can help with my anxiety because I have really bad anxiety. Ways that I can quote unquote de-stress. And some of those ways are we're looking at potentially getting a cleaning person to come and clean our house twice a month instead of like spending every weekend just deep cleaning my house. I'm really excited about that. We're trying to find.
I would totally do that. I mean, not totally do that, but I did that for this last year up until November when Kinsley was like heavily in and out of the hospital twice a month. Highly recommend it. I want to do it again. It's just was a little too expensive after a while. So I'm re-budgeting things, but highly would recommend that for stress management. We can get into more detail about it, but that one I would fully agree with you on that one.
Yeah. And then professionally, I feel like some of my resolutions are I'm trying to find new ways to become more organized and like tools I can use to become more organized. So I found a couple that I'm that I'm utilizing or I'm trying to use, but yeah. So what about you? Open up your booklet there.
I know it's right in front of me. Yeah. I've trying out a new journal for this year. So with everything going on with us at home for the last year and a half, I was using a different journaling system where it came out every month. I got a new journal every month. And it was a lot of focus on like yourself and gratitude, and there was a different word every month that was focused on. And it helped me getting back into work and dealing with Kinsley and everything. But I wanted to try something different. So I have a book now that's for the full year, and I've got a vision board in it. I like that I get to basically take my vision board everywhere I get to go, instead of kind of living at home or at work. Especially with my now job, I travel a little bit more, so that's easier to have it with me. But health stuff I have on there for like going for walks. That is a really big thing for me, especially at work when I get really stressed at work. That has been one of the most common things I do. Got for career improving, like my coaching skills, doing a lot more reading. We are reading a lot of books in general, just in how to do my new role with the lean services stuff, but just reading more, finding how beneficial it is, even if it's just short bursts, and then building those relationships to kind of help my moving forward. But the biggest thing is like coaching skills, because that's really what I'm doing now. So those are some. I have a lot more. That is the like 10% of everything that's on here. But
so what kind of journaling is it? A subscription or what was it that you were using previously?
Oh, the one before was called Silk and Sonder, and it is a subscription. You can sign up for the year, or you can do it like monthly. And they have, let me find the January one. So January, which I'm not using it, my yearly subscription started in September of last year. So I'm kind of a little over, but so January is this year, the word is ambition. So they usually have a little thing about ambition in the beginning. They have calendars, habit trackers, mood trackers. It's very much mental health based. You do reflections of last month, you're writing out intentions for this month, you're reflecting like on ambition. There's journal prompts on ambition. And then there's like a weekly calendar in here that you can use whatever you want with. And they have an app that goes with it. So you can get a daily affirmation every day, which was super nice. There's a little community like posting area. You can see pictures of other people's journals that really inspire maybe some changes. But what I liked about it, at least starting, was I've tried to journal in the past. I've met guys in the industry that they maybe do like a journal on a Sunday. What went well this week? What I'm going to do next week? But it's like I'd get a book, just like a regular white notebook, and it would take so much effort. I'm like, what am I supposed to write? I have no clue. So this one, it gave you everything. It prompts you, it has daily rituals. You're focusing on a word, like it directs you somewhere. And that really helped me. So you got a new one every month. So I have over 12 of these things just sitting around in my office now. It also has like a coloring page, has a bunch of different things. I don't know. So I really like that, but I wanted to try something different. So now I'm using Commit 30. So this it's actually a woman out of Durango, Colorado. And it's very similar. It has like the calendars set up. It has blank pages. It actually has a Facebook group that you can like see what other people set it up with, but it's all in one book that you can take everywhere with you. And so I really like that instead of changing every single month. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that, if I stick with that, I mean, we're going on over a year and almost a year and a half now of doing journaling consistently. And I never did that before. So it definitely helped with getting through the cancer stuff to this point. And I may not be perfect every time, but it's something to write down things and kind of look forward. And I'm practicing gratitude still, just finding things to be positive about instead of just kind of, I'm someone that focuses on the negative a lot.
I love that. Yeah, that's cool. I've been wanting to do like a journaling, because I try to journal too, but I'm kind of like what you said. I journal on like just white pieces of blank white paper. And I mean, I'm pretty creative when it comes to things that aren't personal, if that makes any sense. Like it's hard for me to be creative with my own mental health, I guess, and come up with prompts and know what to write down. I feel kind of like an imposter in a sense, and the whole imposter syndrome, which is also something I'm going to try to be working on this year, is to get rid of my imposter syndrome, or at least figure out ways to cope with it. But yeah, that's cool. I'll have to use that. Look into that.
Yeah, actually, I've got a girlfriend and a cousin that bought the Commit 30 and said, hey, journal buddies, to like hold each other accountable. But like I said, it's always been something, and I've always read that, a lot of really successful people do stuff like this. And I'm like, how do you do that? And I guess it's just finding the right thing. And I've been watching a lot of people like change their journal, how they do it almost yearly. So I was like, okay, it's okay. It doesn't have to look perfect. And I think that's a lot of my frustration of like, oh, it has to be really pretty and I have to have like all the stickers, and I do have stickers in it, but it doesn't look like, I feel like you go on Instagram and like people's are like, they look chaotic but pretty. And it's all like has a consistent flow. And I'm like, I don't feel like mine does that. And it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But
I've been trying to figure out ways to like, organize my thoughts. So that's a really good way to do it. I'll have to try that.
I try and focus on doing it in the morning. When we were talking with Amy from WellWorks, when she's talking about if you're starting the day off well, you're coming with the right mindset to work. That I've been working on that for a long time. So I try to journal every morning, or at least look at my schedule for the morning and kind of like, where am I going? What am I doing? I usually know the night before, obviously, where I'm going, but it's kind of like setting that day. Like, what's going on? What meetings am I going to go to? What's the day looking like? And then hitting on any affirmations or gratitude from yesterday that I want to just, make note of. So that has definitely helped me just kind of setting the morning. And I still do it if we're in the hospital. I try to do it even when I'm traveling for work, just from the hotel room. So it's just setting the day. Do I do it every single day? No, I fail at it multiple times, but I think it's just coming back to it has really been helpful in putting the right foot forward for the day. So
yeah, because of my commute, since it takes me probably about 45 minutes in the morning to get to work, I'll do something similar, but I use like my commute time to think and to like use my like breathing tactics. I don't necessarily meditate necessarily, but I like do intentional breathing, and that's kind of how I de-stress myself for the morning and get my brain right for when I walk into the door. And then I listen to a lot of like like I refuse to listen to music in the morning because music always kind of makes me anxious. Like if I listen to like depending on what kind of music I listen to, it can make me a little anxious. So in the mornings I like to listen to podcasts that talk about meditation or talk about helpful things like how to de-stress. And Jay Shetty has a podcast called On Purpose.
On Purpose?
Yeah, On Purpose is the name of his podcast.
No.
He has some of the best guests on. I mean,
Look it up.
he has a book out there called Think Like a Monk. And so he was a monk for I think 3 years, and he talks about all of his ways of figuring out meditation and like all of that, all the things he practiced as a monk. He is trying to help turn those things around and make it so that people in modern day society can use those tactics. And I mean, it's great. It's one of the best podcasts out there, honestly. I listen to it almost every week. He has an episode that comes out on Monday, and then he has an episode that comes out on Fridays. The Monday ones, it's with an interview with someone talking about literally anything. He mostly talks about trying to help you find your purpose. And then on Fridays he has his personal ones. And then on top of that, he partnered with Calm, like the Calm app. Where they Calm basically has sounds and to help you fall asleep to. They have meditations that you can follow. So it's called The Daily J, and he has basically partnered with them, and you can go on there and listen to him, and he helps you through your meditation. So I listen to him a lot when I'm like driving to work. I try to do like some, not necessarily meditation because I'm not closing my eyes obviously while I'm driving, but like trying to I'm trying to mentally prepare for the day. And I honestly feel like I'm way more happy and energized and ready for the day than mornings that I'm rushing out the door and I'm like, stressed out about, oh, I forgot my lunch or I forgot this thing. And like the entire drive to work, I'm like stressed out because of, freaking I-25 drivers. And so it's my way of just accepting the fact that I have a 45-minute commute and, taking advantage of that.
I don't listen to music a lot anymore either. It's very interesting how that's just like thrown out because it's either like podcasts or just doom scrolling on my phone. But in the car, yeah, it's very much like finding something else to do. But when I'm driving, I find when I'm driving to and from work, like, I don't know, I find that it's like the quiet time. So depending on what I'm doing, depends on if I want to listen to something. Like I was just I drove up to Laramie this week and back in the same day, and I didn't really listen to any podcast. I didn't really listen to much. Like I had music on, but I really didn't pay attention to it. It's like the time where I'm alone in my own thoughts. I wouldn't say it's meditating because I have tried to do meditation and I'm horrible of like silence. I need background noise, I think, to help me kind of think. So I find driving in the car to be a little more soothing. As long as there's some background noise, I'm kind of just enjoying that. And I think taking the time in the morning before I leave work to focus allows me to have like a more relaxed drive for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my body like automatically like now wakes up at like 4:30 and it's super annoying. But 2 years ago, I would be death if I was waking up at 4:30, but it somehow like now my body's way more used to it. I don't hit the alarm at 4:30 as much anymore. So I'm like up. I don't even leave for work until 5:45. So I don't know. I've changed a lot. I used to get up and just hurry up, get dressed, take shower, whatever, and go to work. And now I take that time in the morning to set myself. And again, I feel like you read these like, ooh, what if like really rich and powerful people do? They like have their morning, like they set up their morning, they have a morning routine. And I'm like, how the hell do you do that? I can't do that. And now I have something. I don't know. I don't think like I tried something because I needed to. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, and I'll probably say this thousands of times, it's not because the job required me and I needed to do it. It's because of my personal situation that made me do it. And I find it sad that our industry doesn't push the mental health that same way, that like something that personal to me has to happen for me to take the time to realize it myself. Now, some people are better. Ty was a great example. He kind of does that on his own. Some people are way better, but I don't think we as an industry push as hard on like set your day up. Let's plan for like let's plan the day. Don't just run into it. So that's unfortunately took me, I don't know, 16 years to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think society right now is all about that right now. Like the 5 a.m. club, right? Like all of those books that are coming out talking about setting up your morning, but there's something to it. I mean, it's successful for a reason. There's people, like you're saying, like powerful people that say that that's what they do. And everyone keeps saying, well, yeah, but they are successful and they make their own schedule. Of course they have time in the morning to do that. I have a 9 to 5 or a 6 to 7 or whatever job, right? But it's the intention behind it. Are you intentionally prioritizing something? I think that the amount of time people are scrolling their phones, and I'm very guilty of this, I could have been doing 10 or 12 things that would have been way better for my mental health. But instead, I'm sitting there scrolling TikTok and, watching these videos of other people living a life that I want, even though it's probably fake. But
love-hate relationship with TikTok.
Yeah, well, in fact, I don't have TikTok. I just wait for it to go on to Instagram. I'm one of those people. I don't have it downloaded. So I watch everything that was popular like 2 weeks later. But regardless, it's like something that I'm trying to work on, because there's a lot of studies that even say, like, if you scroll the phone or if you watch TV, or they say you shouldn't even have a TV in your bedroom, within an hour before you go to bed, that it actually hurts your sleep cycle. So I've been trying to, I'm not really a TV person anyway. I don't really like to watch movies. I don't really like to watch TV. I just never really have. So we don't have a TV in our bedroom, and Tyler really wants one. And I'm like, no, I've never had one in my bedroom my entire life. So I just refuse to get to that point, especially because the blue light, the noise, all of it, like it's creating an energy in your body that you don't need when you go to sleep. Like, you're supposed to wind down. You're supposed to do things the night before, or an hour before you go to bed that are, like, turn your lights down low, turn all the sound off, maybe take a hot shower, take a hot bath, like read, like do something that's going to calm your mind and calm your body to fall asleep. And you're going to have a way better sleep cycle. And in the morning, that's when you wake up and you have your morning routine, because you had a really good night's sleep. And, I think it's just funny that, especially in our industry, the thought of like our morning routine is waking up, getting an energy drink, and like
how many guys on the job sites walk in with energy drinks?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think one of the guys I know, which I believe he's cut back, but he would drink like 3 or 4. I think that was how many. I could be wrong, like 3 or 4 monsters a day, but that was like, let's go, let's start going. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's too much. My heart's gonna explode. But that's very common. Yeah.
Especially because of how early a lot of these guys are getting up. A lot of these men and women are getting up to be on the job site. I think it would be super beneficial if they had some kind of a system or something to help them fall asleep earlier, so that they can like have a better morning and an easier transition, into
but think about that for yourself. And I mean, both of us, like, how many times have you come home from work and you are stressed, you're overwhelmed? And I know I do this for me. I do this a lot, is like watching like stupid TV shows, watching stupid TikToks. I disassociate, because that's easier than dealing with what's happening around me.
But that's why it needs to be. It's a mental shift. It's a how do you, like, you do the hard things so that the hard things later seem easy. Like you work out, you exercise, you like all the things that you don't want to do. If you don't want to do it, it's probably good for you. honestly, like if you think
I don't want to
about
do
it,
a lot of. I'm afraid that I've gone to the doctor twice in the last like 6 months, and it both not been great visits. Like, just I need things worked on, so I'm afraid to go to any more doctors.
you're like, here's all the things you need to work on.
I'm like, well, I just like a couple things, like just a couple things of like, oh, my blood test came back. I may potentially have like a thyroid issue, and like I already know my knees are messed up for decades, but like just realized how messed up they are. And I'm like, I don't want to go to the dentist or the eye doctor now. I'm scared.
Mm-hmm. Well, and honestly, like I think it's so funny though, because I feel like Americans don't really think about preventative things, right? Like, and I'm not saying like it's not even just our industry, it's just America. I feel like we are so go, 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 go. Like, God forbid you take a day off to go to a doctor's appointment, you go to the dentist to do, right? Because like we are ingrained that we should be work, 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 and we should be putting our health aside so that we can make sure that we're getting our work done. You know, and you have to take a paid day off to go do the things necessary to be healthy. You know, it's just like, but that's what happens, right? Is like, and I'm really, same thing. I'm really guilty of it too. I mean, I have like really, really high cholesterol, which is insane because I feel like I'm pretty healthy. I'm a pretty healthy, but if you think about it, yeah, the amount of like fat, the amount of all the stuff that I eat because it's convenient, because it'd be too hard for me to cook a healthy meal. Like, you know, it really, the hard things are better for you. So it just, how do we as people that are, you know, dedicated to our jobs and that work hard and that work these long hours, like how do you change your mindset so that when you get home you're not exhausted? Because the thing is that what's going to happen is you got to start with the hard stuff, because eventually it's going to become easier and easier and easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become a routine, right? So you're working out because you want to, not because you have to, but you have to start that first couple of times. You got to force yourself to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the hardest, like the journaling for me. If we just go back, like now I feel like it's very routine. If I fall off for a couple days, I get really mad. I'm like, oh, I gotta get back to the journal. So like it is because I've been practicing it for so long. And I think I had a very strong desire behind it when I started doing it. I want to work out, but I don't have that same strong desire either.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very hard for me. And I think you come home from work, and depending on what you come home from or come home to, can really decide on how you're going to end your day.
Mm-hmm.
If you come home to, you know, just yourself, maybe it's easier. I know I think about when, you know, I was just living alone, like it was great. After work, I'd just go to the gym and I would make a quick, like, one person meal, like easy, not big deal. Well, now, like, I can't do that now. So I try to do like some type of workout or something before I go to work. And then when I come home, I've got to pick up my daughter, and we're home, and now it's, food and you want to be present, but you're also super tired. And it's like every single person's life is so different. It's like, how do you have to find a way to work with what you have. And I think that's the hardest part. It's like, for me, it's just looking at where I was 15 years ago to now. It's like, oh, why was it so easy 15 years ago? Because it was just me. And now I'm not putting me first. I think that's one of the main things, is that I don't think about me. And I disassociate from like some of the things that are going on around me, just to kind of, I'll just go to sleep. And when I wake up, I'll just have another day, in lieu of really understanding it.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of it, honestly, I think what I agree with that. I mean, I think it depends on the season of life that you're in. It depends on the situations that you're in. It depends on all of that. But I think I feel like there's like 4 foundations to everyone's mental health, or just health in general. Exercise, diet, self-care of some sort, and sleep. Like, I think those are like the 4 like main. If you can master those things, then you'll have a pretty good quality of life. And I feel like because everyone's in different seasons of life, it's just how do I check off all 4 of those things in my life on a daily basis? Maybe it's just walking for 10 minutes. Maybe that's all you can do for the exercise portion of that, right? Maybe that's all you can achieve, but at least you're checking it off. You're saying like, this right now in this season of life, this is all I can do. But at least you're being intentional about it. You're thinking about the thing and you're doing something that is better for you. Maybe self-care is the only thing I could do for self-care is maybe you take an extra 5 minutes in the shower just to like let the water run on your face and just be by yourself, maybe that's all you can do.
I've done.
Right. But that's what I'm saying.
There's times we have like a little, like the little like bamboo seats that you could get like I think like you get them at Bed Bath & Beyond like a couple years ago, but I have one of those and there's been times where I just like sit there and I just like let the shower go over top of me.
But you need it.
And I'm just
that's
like,
yeah, that's your self-care. And that's okay. That's okay. Cause maybe when Kinsley's old enough and you're able to like kind of focus more on yourself again in that way, you start doing, like you get your nails done. Like that is a self-care thing that you do for yourself and that I do for myself because that's something that I enjoy and that's something that I prioritize for myself. Like I feel like if everyone did that and they hit those 4 pillars, every single day, even if it was just for 5 minutes or for, and some days maybe you hit it a little harder. Maybe you obviously you're never going to be able to be balanced. That just doesn't exist.
No,
you're going to have to sacrifice things for other things for depending on how long, but it'll change, right? Like at some point, all of a sudden your job's a little easier. Your kids are grown a little more grown. And you realize that, oh, I have a little more free time. I'm going to go to that yoga class I've been wanting to do, But it's just keeping those foundations because if you don't and you don't focus on those intentions and you're not intentional and understand and self-aware, then you'll never do it. When you get the free time, you'll scroll on your phone longer.
Yeah. And I'm sure like everyone's talking about it right now because that's the beginning of the year. We always talk about it, but it's the consistency. We all fall off eventually too. And so it's just don't overwhelm with too many goals, right? That you want to work on. Mine was we're journaling. That's what I'm doing. And if I don't hit every goal that I've put on there on that vision board, it's okay. And that's taken time for me to deal with. I am such a perfectionist. I want everything to be a certain way. That's a big deal to me. So it's just getting over that for myself. The self-awareness part is a big thing. But then when it comes down to it, you're like, when I think about my guys at work, if they need to go, that's probably the worst part is guys are hourly out there. So taking time off for them to go take care of themselves is money. Mm-hmm. So they can look at it completely negative, right? They're like, why would I go take care of myself? Why would I go to the doctor appointment when I don't really need to? Like my teeth are fine. Like why? Why would I go? For me, I grew up going to the dentist every 6 months. I went to the orthodontist. I was religious with my mom growing me up. We went all the time. I don't do it that much anymore, which is the bad part, but how many other people can do that, right? That's something that they may just be like, I don't have time to do that because I have to take off work to do that. And I don't have the money and the time to do that. So to me, that's something that we have to look at differently for the guys out in the field. I know some companies I've heard offer some stuff for the guys out there. I know some job sites, some of the federal job sites, I'll give you like not vacation. Well, I guess it is vacation, like sick vacay for every hour you work, and you have to use it when the guys can only use it when they're working on the jobs, right? So like there are some out there, but it's not regular, right? If you're not working on that job, you don't get it. So there should be more apt to like not penalize people. And I think I've done it with some guys, like, okay, work a couple hours today and you're fine tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you really need the money, like we'll figure that out. Or if you need to take Friday off and okay, can we work 4 10s? Yeah, let's figure that out. Like that's the conversation that should be happening. And that's not even for the hourly, but even for salary people.
I agree.
Right? Yeah. Salary means you're working more than 40 hours a week. So there should be an assumption that we should be able to take care of ourselves within that time frame.
My company's
right?
really good about letting us, like if I have an appointment in the middle of the day, my manager's like, yeah, go take care of it, you know, because he knows I'm gonna get my job done. He knows I'm gonna
Right.
work a little extra that night or whatever, or you know, to get my job done. He doesn't.
But also, you just said something that was like, you're going to work a little extra because you did that. You shouldn't have to, though.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
because you went to the doctor's appointment shouldn't mean, well, now I got to do like an hour of work at home tonight because I went to that doctor's appointment. When you probably have already given the company 200 hours in the last year extra, right? If you go over a 40-hour, like that mindset is also something that it shouldn't just be, well, you like built a relationship with a client and you went to lunch and you sat and talked with them for a half hour that wasn't at lunch. That shouldn't then been like, oh, well, now I gotta like do extra work. Or I went to a doctor's appointment for a half hour. I gotta do extra work. But that is something we build into us.
I was gonna say it's not my manager that expects that of me. It's my own personal thought process. It's us. It's that it's the American way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not working, if you're not physically at your desk for freaking 8 hours a day, you're not doing your job. Even if
that's the whole fight right now.
Even if 6 of those 8 hours you're literally like not doing anything, but you're looked at as being more successful than the person that was able to do their job in 20 hours in the week, and that took, you know, only worked half the day but got twice or 3 times as much done because they were actually like being mentally, you know, there to be able to get their job done in the time frame that they can do it in. Yeah, because it's not just our industry, it's
everywhere.
it's America. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the problem now with like all the back to working from home or back into the office, right? That's still the fight. People realize they can do their jobs from home, right? COVID gave us that. But companies fully, or I wouldn't say companies, maybe companies and managers, they don't like not being able to see what that person's doing. So finding other ways to do it. And I am not a fully at home working person. It's just not for me. I want to be around people. I want to be able to collaborate with people. I want to just, you know, water cooler it, go and have lunch, and there's other people around. So for me, I'm not fully work from home, but there's times when it has benefited. Like I got to take Kinsley to do an appointment, just work from home, take her, come back and work from home. I don't have to drive, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I think, well, and I think part of the problem though is that, I think we need to redefine work ethic, because I was having a conversation with my dad. Dad, if you listen to this episode, I love you, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. I was having a conversation with my dad about work ethic, and in his generation, I would consider his generation the boomer generation, I guess. I don't.
What year was he born?
66.
I think that's still boomer. My mom's 53, so she's for sure boomer.
So he's 55, I believe. I don't know. Math is hard.
Generation. I gotta Google. Gotta use the Google. 1964. So he's right there.
Well,
like 64 is like what they're saying is the cutoff.
Okay. So he's like 2 years after. So he's technically Gen X, but
yeah.
So we were having this conversation about work ethic and how, you know, their generation is very, work ethic means the amount of hours you work, right? Your work ethic, you have a really good work ethic if you work over the required hours for your job.
Yes.
Which in his opinion, the way that he was describing it is, well, the extra hours that you're working, even if you got the job done, you're studying, you're reading on stuff, you're you're studying for how to do something better. That's kind of like what's his reasoning behind it is, if you're working extra hours, you're showing that you're putting in the effort, that you want to move up, that you want to learn your job better. And I was thinking about it after we had that conversation, because I was like, Dad, like, I don't agree with that. I think people that need that have to work over 40 hours are either being overworked or they don't have the proper training. And that is like my true belief, is that if you cannot do your job in the 40 hours required to do your job, there is something wrong in that situation. And then when he said that, he's like, well, yeah, but if you want to better yourself, you're going to work those extra hours. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, but I, like, on my own spare time, my own personal time, I'm already doing that. I'm reading leadership books. I'm listening to leadership podcasts. I'm like listening to things to be more organized. I'm figuring out things for me as a project manager. I'm doing things on my own personal time that is benefiting me for my job. I'm just not doing it, I'm not counting that in my hours worked. Does that make sense? Like,
Right.
I'm not counting it towards like I worked 60 hours this week because I read a leadership book or I listened to this podcast that was going to benefit me. And I think that what I'm saying is, yes, you should always work on yourself, but the 40 hours, meaning like physically doing your job, sitting at a computer for that long, is not healthy for anyone. And after 6.5 hours of you just staring at your computer, your attention span and your desire to get the thing done just goes down. And all of a sudden you're just staring at the computer for another hour where you didn't even get anything done, and you just wasted that hour that you could have been doing something to mentally prepare yourself for the next day. Right. So now that's how burnout, I feel like, happens. It's a constant like cycle where people are just constantly overworking, and actually nothing's actually getting done. It's not benefiting you.
No, I mean, I see, like, I guess I don't know, maybe where it's just me growing up, I don't know, but I see both angles of that. Like, because I guess right now I am doing that. Like, I always was more apt to push for learning at work. I think I was more comfortable with it being at work. So I was fine with, like, let's read the book, let's figure that out, let's do it as a group, let's learn together, let's, do that at work. And it was probably because I wanted that, like, someone saw me do it.
Mm-hmm. You want recognition.
I like that recognition that they see me do that. So I totally see, like, your dad's point of view, but then I also go with, is when you said that, are they not able to do their job properly? I think there's also the perspective of, do they understand what they need to get done? The prioritizing. So how many times have you stayed at work longer because shit, you're on a roll? Let's just keep going. Right? I'm just going to work a 10-hour day. I'm going to work a 12-hour day. Fuck it. Because I'm on a roll. Or if I get a bunch of these change orders out, like, I don't need to do them tomorrow, I'll give myself more time tomorrow. But then tomorrow rolls around, and how many new things just fell on your plate? Because we are a firefighting industry. So yeah, you just got a lot of work off your plate. So maybe like the first 2 hours of the day, you're like, sweet. And then all of a sudden more shit just piled on. Right? So then you're like, oh, well, great, now I'm going to have to work another 10, 12-hour day. How many times does that happen or has happened? I know for sure that has happened to me. So it just circles back. I'm sorry to everyone listening if they get annoyed with me constantly saying this. It circles back with my situation with my daughter, but realizing that that's not that important. Like, tomorrow will still be here. Those 20 change orders will still be able to get done. More shit's gonna fall on my plate tomorrow. Like, who cares? And it's not that I don't care about my job and that I don't care about the work. I'm learning to care about something completely different, understanding my purpose differently. That work was my everything, even after my daughter was born. But this situation we are in now has changed what I believe my purpose was. And I was looking for my purpose even with her situation going on, and I have finally found, like, I don't need to have work be my purpose, but I like the prioritizing and realizing that stuff's still going to be there, and you don't need to rush, like prioritizing or taking the time. And this, I do this also. I get super overwhelmed if I have a really big to-do list. So going, oh my God, you guys just added 20 more things to my list. Fuck. Like, what am I going to do? And I will take the time. I'll spend the next hour spending the time and looking at everything and prioritizing it. So, but I will saying all the filler words. No one taught me how to do that. Even though we go to these time management classes, I feel like they tell you stuff, but it's not, they give you some tools, but you have to learn how to do it yourself and what works best for you. So no one like told me how to do any of this stuff on the way I do it now, but it's something I've had to learn. So just because they're working an 80-hour work week, it may not mean that they don't know how to do it or they don't know how to do their work. They could be just not understanding how to prioritize what's right in life. And
Right.
that's normal for most of us when we want to prove ourselves. We want to like prove that we know what we're doing. When boomers are like, hey, get out there and just work. You guys are all millennials, me a millennial, you're all lazy. It's like, well, maybe we're just looking at things differently. So it goes back to that mindset of like, we need to change what work ethic means
Exactly.
to the newer generation. And it probably doesn't help that, yes, there are still boomers in management positions within majority of companies that believe in that work ethic still.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have whole new generations coming in that don't believe in that same thing.
Well, and I think, honestly, I think a lot of it is that, I mean, in their generation, when they first started in, all of their industries, whatever that was for them, they didn't have the technology that we have now that speeds up a lot of this stuff, right? Like before they used to have to think about the amount of paper, the amount of work they had to do just to do a billing. And now how quickly we could do billings in Textura. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel
you and I don't know how the GC gets quicker billing.
Probably not.
The owner.
But what I'm saying though is that like the technology has made it quicker, and those things have become easier for us. And the problem is that the more technologies, the more things that come out that we're utilizing to make our jobs a little more efficient, instead of it become like our jobs becoming more efficient and us like working less because now we've got all these things that can help us, we're now just piling more work on because it's like, oh, you're not stressed out enough. You don't have enough on your plate. You're not working 60 hours a week. Here's another 4 jobs. Like, here's another 4 projects that you can work on. Like,
oh yeah, that's so true.
And that's the problem, is that these technologies are supposed to help us in managing everything and being able to do things efficiently so that we don't have to do that. But the American mentality is, if you're not stressed to the nines, you're not doing enough on your job, right? And that's a problem. That is the mindset that needs to shift. And that's why I think that the generations that are coming in right now that have this, everyone keeps saying they're lazy, they're, all they want to do is like make TikToks, no one wants to work, right? Like, that's like the mentality. But if you think about it, it's like, no, they're smart. They're figuring out AI stuff. They're figuring out things to make their jobs easier. They're working smarter, not harder. And why are we downing them for that? Right? And I mean, yes, there's
not the norm. We're uncomfortable with it.
Right. I mean, there's definitely things that I feel like that was beneficial, right? Like working hard. What is this saying? Tyler always says this. I'm going to butcher it. Hard
times create strong men create good times.
No, that's right.
Is it really? Okay. Good time creates weak men and weak men create hard times?
Yes.
This quote is from a post-apocalyptical novel.
Of course it
is. By author G. Michael Hopf, sums up a stunning, pervasive, cyclical, I can't say words, vision of history.
See, but it makes sense though. Like, and that is, I think, I do believe in that a little bit. Like, we don't want the next generations to think that everything's easy, and then all of a sudden everything that we've worked so hard for crashes because they're not maintaining it. But I think there's a balance. I think there's between all the generations. There's everyone has different perspectives that I think are all good perspectives to have. But if we all collaborated and put these perspectives together and made it so that we can work hard. Like, because the thing is that I love my job. That's why I work. Yes, I need a paycheck. Obviously, I need to be able to survive. But I do truly love and I'm very passionate about my job, which is hence why we were making this podcast. Like, if I wasn't passionate about it, we wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
And I feel like, creating and carrying on that passion with the next generations is very important. And that's why I feel like we need to figure out ways to not burn everyone out. Because if we continue to burn people out, we're going to get less and less people coming into the industry. And we're going to have less and less, buildings, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the future would hold if that was the case. Like, if we just didn't have, or are we always just going to have people come into the industry and knowing because it's a decent paying industry and they just suffer through it? Is that just the norm for us? Like, I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that that's going to be the norm forever.
I don't think it'll be the norm forever, but I think you're seeing change. Schools, or not schools. I would think parents now are more apt to going, look, it's okay to not go to college, where when I was in high school, you were going to college. Like, it was, it's push college. It's not push the trades. It's not pushing a trade school in any way. I think that is definitely changed. I know, just talking to people, friends that I know that have kids that just recently graduated high school, all of their kids are not going to college and they're considering being a trade. I find that like really interesting because I feel like that wasn't common 20 years ago. So I think that's already changing. And I think it's basically because the parents go, I don't want them to be coming out with debt. Like, they didn't go to college with and do their job that they're doing now, right? College got them somewhere. I think college does help, but it's not a requirement, right? Mm-hmm. I know many guys in the industry that are running businesses that are high up in construction companies that do not have college degrees from when they started. Maybe they have one now, but some don't at all. You can still do it if you have the right mindset. So I think some of that is changing. The technology that's coming out. I mean, if you've seen like Dusty Robotics, the layout tool, like, that's going to change. You still need somebody there helping with running it right now. That's changing the future. So there's going to be things where you won't need the manpower the same, but there's still things that you can't do without people. So we just need to find, the companies need to change, and maybe with management changing, the generations changing, maybe that's going to help. But we have to wait and see how that happens. Until then, we got to talk about it. We have to celebrate the companies and the people that do things for their workers, for their employees, for each other, for colleagues, right? To celebrate when they are taking time for themselves. I think we just need to celebrate it more, because we don't celebrate taking time to help yourself and help others. And that needs to probably change. Yeah, I mean, we're at work right now. We're doing things every week. We're doing Friday stand-ups, and we've changed it. So after every one, we show a piece of gratitude, shout out to someone that's helped in the last week or two for you. Sharing that gratitude and that caring for the people around us. Mm-hmm. We need to do more of that, because then people will want to be in the industry. So it's just, I think,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Everyone just wants to be appreciated. Like, at the end of the day, I don't think people understand how simple it would be to change mindsets in the industry just by simply, and it's our leadership that needs to be the forefront. They need to be the ones making the changes, and the future leadership, right? Like our generation, right? We're going to be the next leaders. So starting now in recognizing all of your trade partners, recognizing the individuals, not just like, oh, you as a company did really good. No, you as an individual, I'm so like, I saw what you did. I saw that you helped so-and-so, or you helped this other trade out of the goodness of your heart. Thank you for that. Like, truly giving appreciation. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so
100%. Yes.
So simple.
It sounds simple. And then doing it for yourself also. Mm-hmm. Appreciating yourself, because I'm not good at that. I'm not good at appreciating the good things I do either. Mm-hmm. So that to me is also appreciate what you're doing when you come home, appreciate what you did. And I know that's hard. It's not something that a lot of people can do. It's not easy to come home after a very stressful day and go, it's okay. Usually you're analyzing, or I'm analyzing, here's what I should have said in that meeting. Here's how I should have said it. How much do people hate me? How much people don't like me? I'm going out there, I'm going to put on the fake facade, but underneath I am like wondering if I'm doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned I've got to make that time to celebrate that, okay, I did something good today. But it's taken me a long time to realize that. And that's, I think, the sad part. And it's like, oh, well, experience makes you better. Great. But why aren't we teaching this to the 25-year-olds coming into the industry? Why aren't we teaching that in college? Why are we not focusing on it early on? And that's a whole, should have some like a teacher come on to the podcast and we can talk about that, because I think that's like, why isn't that started from very early? And I know parents need to do it too. I'm not throwing parents that like, oh, it's the teacher's thing, but like, why don't we teach that stuff in college?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I think today, like, we covered some like pretty great topics, ways to organize your thoughts, ways to, by journaling, getting up early, figure out ways to get off your phone an hour before bed, like having a good night's sleep. Don't drink energy drinks at 5 a.m. in the morning. Like, try to switch to something a little less intense, the little things that could potentially change your life. I mean, those little tiny things, those little changes that you make on the daily, being consistent with it, trying to hit those 4 pillars we talked about, and just, obviously, I agree with you. I hate the whole 2020, like, New Year's resolution. Let's do this thing for 3 months, burn out, and not do it again. I think we need to like change the thought and know that if this isn't the season in your life that you can get your goal, then maybe figure out tiny things you can do that will get you prepared for your goal. Right.
Well, and I going back to journals, you just said that. So I took the one that was monthly. You had like, you're setting new intentions for the month. It's like you're setting new goal. And then the new one I have for Commit 30, they have the same thing. There's a goal for every month. So instead of going, I need to hit all these goals for the year, you could literally just like, my goal this month is just to use my journal every day. I have other goals. I want to make sure like I pack my lunch. I have other goals, but the main one I'm going to focus on is just using the journal every day. Like, bite-sized chunk it.
Yeah.
Instead of, for 24, I'm going to do these 800 damn things. Well, we're all going to fail. I failed thousands of times for that one. So that's the other thing I really do like about the journaling, is it's like bite-sized goals in lieu of 2024 goals. Like, just what are we doing this month? That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I want to focus on is, what am I doing this month? And I would also say is looking at other people, finding that mentor within your company or in maybe professional networking groups that you see, and going, hey, how do you wake up in the morning? How do you leave work? What do you do to like manage your time at work? Like when we're talking about, do you understand prioritizing? Like, talk to people about that. When I found Trello, I was like in love with Trello, and I still am to this day, just because I found it one day and I was like, best thing ever. And I've used it, for 5 years because of that. As soon as you find something, try it. And if it doesn't work, try something different. Like I was saying early, journals, people like Instagram, people that are like committed to journals change almost every year to like a new journal for every couple of years. And maybe they'll come back to it. It's like, it's okay if it didn't work the first time.
Or if you're growing.
Don't give up.
Yeah, if you're growing in the things, your needs will grow with you, right? Your needs will change with you as you grow. So maybe journaling, is good for the first 3 years. And maybe after that, you don't want to journal anymore. You want to do something else. You want to meditate, or you want to, No, I agree with that. We should definitely put these, all of these in the link, like, in our link.
Oh yeah. Like some ideas, the Commit 30, the Sonder,
Trello is awesome. Trello is probably, we used it on our IPD project as the entire team. We used it
because of children's.
Yeah.
Because because of the project we were on before that one that you and I were on, actually, because that IPD project before is where I learned about it, because the electricians were using it. I flew into it 100%, and the whole team then agreed on it at the next IPD project that you and I were on. So, I mean, I offered, and it's free. First time, like, you can sign up for free for some of the simple versions. I mean, I shared it with a group of women, minority constructors in like Portland, and they were just like, this is awesome. They never even heard of it before. So if you've never heard of Trello, or I think there's a lot of different versions out there of similar things, but I mean, Trello to me is like a great first off free version. Great off there. But
for personal use or for team use. I mean,
we use it for this podcast.
We do use it for this podcast.
Jenna doesn't look at it very often.
No, I'm not very good about it. That's one of my goals this year, is to become better at checking my Trello.
As we're talking about it, you're like, I love Trello. Don't use it though.
I use it for work. Okay. I use it for my personal reasons.
That's the other thing, is like, I use like all these tools I do great with at work. Until I found the journaling, I sucked at managing my own time at home. And I think that's another thing, coming home, like decision paralysis.
It's hilarious to me that we're project managers at work, and we're so organized. We have all these detail oriented things to do all day long. But when you get home, you're like, I don't know. Should I clean the kitchen first? Should I vacuum first? Should I lay on the couch and scroll my phone for 2 hours first? What do I do? Like,
oh my God, that goes back to the cleaning in the beginning. 100% vote on having someone clean your house.
You can afford it. Splurge.
Even if you can afford it. I mean,
it's kind of worth, like, honestly, if you did your budgets, I bet you could probably, it's just what you prioritize, right? Like, what do you prioritize in your life? Because people will spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on Starbucks or eating out or all these other things that they're prioritizing, or buying little trinkets at Target that are just gonna end up in the trash anyway. Like, instead of doing that, if it helps your mental health or helps your stress, like, spend money on a therapist, spend money on cleaning your house, spending money on a gym membership that's maybe a little more bougie because you'll actually go to the classes, right? Like, I think thinking about prioritizing like your money and where it goes, that actually is more of an investment in yourself than it is just might as well lighting it on fire and throwing it at a Starbucks barista.
You're going to show up to work feeling much better. I will tell you, my weekends feel better. Well, they did, because I stopped paying for it. But like, they would come and clean my house on, what would we have it? Like a Friday? Thursday or Friday. It was toward the end of the week. And so I'd come home, and it's like the weekend, I'm ready to go, because it's like a clean house. The mental health that goes along with just having your house clean, for I know not everybody's the same, but like for me, it was, like you said, you don't have to do it. You don't have to spend all weekend doing it. But what also, I'm going to pre-warn you on this one, Jenna, you then go, what the hell am I doing this weekend?
Yeah. And then you actually have to force
you're going to be like, oh, I have free time. What am I going to do? And that is a whole other area that you haven't even gotten there yet. But that happened to me. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to spend like all day like cleaning.
That's when
I'm
you
just going to do some laundry. Now I can do some other things. And that's actually, it makes it harder to like then go, what am I going to do today? It's super weird. That's
the problem. Now you have free time to actually do the hard things that you don't want to do. That's why people, I think, like doing chores, because it's mindless stuff that they don't have. They spend their entire weekend doing it and they feel productive because it's like you've achieved something, right? But it's not something that's helping your mental health. In a sense, like for me,
unless you love to clean, there are people that love to clean.
That's true. Like stress management kind of stuff, which you could still do, right? Like you could still have that. But what it does is it creates an opportunity for you to now focus on yourself, go to the gym, go to that really hard yoga class, or that really hard Pilates class, or that really hard whatever class, going on a really nice long walk with your dog and your husband or your wife or whoever, your kids. Like, it creates the space for you to actually invest in yourself. And I think that scares people. I think because everyone feels like an imposter. Everyone has imposter syndrome. Everyone I talk to has imposter syndrome. Do the thing. Do whatever you want to do. Just start it. Because no one knows that you have imposter syndrome. And no one thinks you're an imposter. They think, oh, I wish I would have done that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I'm jealous that I wish I could start a podcast. I wish I could write a book. I wish I could write an article. I wish I could sing. I wish I could, like, all these things. Just freaking do it. If you want to do it, figure out a way and do it. It's hard.
I would say it's hard.
But that's part of it. All the hard things are usually good for you.
Is that the name of the episode? Am I right? That's
my motto. That's my motto today.
Hard things are usually good for you.
Well, so one goal for us this year is we would like to grow our followers on all of the platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever else we're on. What else are we on?
Well, Google's going away, so I think pretty much just like Apple and Spotify right now.
So if you guys could please follow and subscribe not only to our website and not only to our LinkedIn page, but also on Spotify and Apple, and share, leave comments, all the things to help us grow this podcast. We would love to get this out to as many people as we can. We want it to get to ears to where we can have more interviews and create the awareness and keep spreading it. And hopefully this thing will grow. And next year we'll be talking about, possibly growing the amount of episodes we have, the amount of followers, all the things. So we do appreciate our followers. We have 17 official followers on, is it Spotify?
Spotify. Yeah.
But we have a lot of downloads. So we know people are listening, but no one's actually subscribing. So commit, guys. This is the year of committing. Awesome. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I think that's. Thank you, Jenna.